Hi, it's Maija here, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 comics that didn't fit in my last wrap-up. So these are things 124 to 128 that I've read this year. Timestamps in the description for the separate comics. I read The Wicked and the Divine Volume 7, Mothering Invention by Kieron, Gillen and Jamie McKelvie. This is the 7th volume in the series about these reincarnated gods in the modern day who are basically pop stars. In this one, some questions are answered, but some new arise, everything continues to be very mysterious, and the art continues to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to this series concluding next year. I think we're getting 2 more volumes, with the next one being these stories about the other Pantheon reincarnations throughout history. They were originally released as one-shots through the years, and I haven't read any of them, so I'm really looking forward to it. I gave this one 4 stars. Then from the library I read Monstress Volume 3, Haven by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. This was a great continuation to this dark fantasy series, and I love the relationship between the main character and the monster living inside her and how their relationship has grown throughout the volumes. The weight of the history of the world is still very much there, as is the beautiful art, and these volumes are always such a treat. 4 stars. Then I bought 2 comics anthologies in the same series from Gumroad. This is the first one, Power and Magic, the Queer Witch Comics Anthology, and there's also Immortal Souls, the Queer Witch Comics Anthology too. And the reason I bought these is because I have mentioned this before, but I saw a Niv Sekar's story, Your Heart is an Apple, on Twitter, and I really liked it. And I saw that it was from this anthology, so this first one, so I wanted to buy it and sort of support her. These anthologies contain stories of queer witches of color aimed at teens and up, from women and non-binary creators of color. This first anthology contains 15 stories, and they are of varying memorability and quality, as things tend to often be in comics anthologies, at least in my experience. My 3 favorite stories were, of course, Your Heart is an Apple by Nivedita Sekar, and this one is my absolute favorite and the reason I bought this anthology, like I said, and it mixes well-known fairy tale characters with the story of a woman who is just recovering from breakup and starting to date again. I also like The Shop That Never Stays by Gabrielle Robinson and Hannah Latarte, which is about this woman who runs this shop which overnight changes place to a different world, a different location, and wherever the shopkeeper goes in the world, every time she awakes, it's back in the shop, until she falls in love with a customer one day. And I also liked Songbird for a Vulture by Naomi Frankis. It's about this kid who runs away from home because her parents are evil witches, and it's about finding your own people and healing. There was also a story from Gemma Salume in this. She goes by Oxboxer online, and I really love her art, but the story didn't captivate me. The second anthology was Immortal Souls, and this one had 10 short stories. This one actually had a lot of comics with cute art that I liked, even though it didn't have that memorable stories. And I might have liked the art in this volume a bit better than I liked the art in the first volume. But I'm gonna just briefly rattle off some names of the stories that I like the art in. There's Magical Girl Crisis by Pat Duck, Mach-Chi by Sani Ochumuk and Ani Makie, An Unexpected Spectre by Francis Quintero, that one was very cute, and Requiem by Ayani C. Hanna and Melanie Tingdahl, and that one had great simple and bold line work. But my favorite stories were, in this one I had 2, they were The Woman Who Waits by Lyra Kraunik and Nika, and this is a dark story about this woman who is immortal until her true love is reborn. So she loses her love and goes to this witch and asks to be made immortal. And the witch says that, okay, but you are tied to this hut, and you will be immortal until she kisses you again. It's like no matter how long that takes, and you are tied to this one place. It was quite dark, but I liked it. My other favorite story, I think it was the very last one, it might have been in this collection, it was Bon Voyage, My Chains by Sonia Liao, and it tells about these 2 orphaned kids, a brother and a sister, who are servants to this cruel master, and the master has a non-binary child, and the father doesn't approve of them, and one night all 3 of them run away. The sister also has magical powers where she can see if people are about to die, but she keeps these powers hidden because witches are persecuted in this world. The world and the characters felt like they were part of something bigger, and it all felt very well developed. The characters were likable, and I would gladly read a lot more of their adventures. I gave these anthologies 3 stars by the power of their best stories, even though a lot of the stories would get like 2 stars from me. But Your Heart is an Apple would definitely get 4 stars or 4.5 stars, something along those lines. And finally, from the library, I read The Divided Earth by Erin Hicks. This is the third and last book in the Nameless City trilogy. So this is a middle grade fantasy series. It is set in a secondary world, that is the fantasy element, there is no magic. And in this one, Kai, who is this military kid from the invading force, and Rat, a street kid from the city itself, are in hiding because of the events of the previous volume, and they must infiltrate the palace in order to get back something powerful. This series was okay. I basically read it because I bought the first volume and read that one, and then I realized that my library had the next two ordered, so I could get them from the library and finish the series. Otherwise, I don't think I would have, because I didn't like it enough to buy the rest of the volumes. I still think middle grade readers would really enjoy this adventure, and it tackles the topics of war and belonging and breaking tradition and making a new way. I gave this one 3 stars. Erin Hicks is very competent as a comics creator, but the story just wasn't for me. Those were the 5 comics that I read in November. Let's talk more in the comments, but that's all from me for now, and I will see you in my next video.